Darlene, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for inviting me. It's a surprise.
I'm sorry to spring it on you, but I think the story that we're going to talk about today is so fantastic, and it's really captured the imagination of so many people in the country. And that's that you performed a very specific surgery on a French bulldog. But let's back up a little bit. You're not actually a vet. Tell us a bit about your work.
No, I'm an ear, nose and throat surgeon, and my speciality is sinuses and the nose. I'm an associate professor at Groote Schuur Hospital, and I've got a limited private practice, also just doing specialized sinus surgery. So most of my referrals are from all over the country, so now and again I get some weird requests regarding a horse or a dog or something like that.
Now, if I've read this correctly, or if I understand it correctly, you have been in the media before. For performing really extraordinary surgery on a human being. Through the nose, was it brain surgery through the nose?
I work at Groote Schuur Hospital. We've got a big skull-based unit where we've got a combined team, ENT surgeon, neurosurgeon, also ophthalmologist now, where we're doing really groundbreaking work with very few units worldwide, specifically with the orbital work we do now, meaning that we use cameras to go through the nasal passages or the nostrils, but also through the corners of the eye to access certain eye tumors, brain tumors, nasal tumors that before was inaccessible. So it's very specialized equipment. We use a very specialized team of surgeons. We've been working together for many years.
So you go from this type of surgery to a couple of Fridays ago sitting with a dog on the table in front of you. How did that come about?
Yes, I met Rena Cotton. She's a vet at Vet Point in Sea Point, an amazing woman who will never turn an animal away, and has got three-legged
Vets are wonderful
dogs.
like that, aren't they?
Amazing. So she heard about me doing a surgery, which was also kind of a first surgery on a cleft palate on a horse, which at that stage wasn't successful, but she joined me in this venture. And then knew about me. So she just wrote me a SMS about 3 weeks ago and said, I've got this little French bulldog who really can't breathe, and he's had some palatal surgery done elsewhere by a vet, and what would I do if this was a human being? So I wrote back. I said, well, I would put a camera in the nose and I would probably trim some of the excess tissues. And then I thought about it, and I thought, well, let me go and look what people actually do. And I did a Google search and found an article that some German veterinary surgeon wrote about operating on a French bulldog. And they have what you call brachiocephalic heads, because they're so inbred. They've got these dogs whose heads are so small, but all their structures obstruct their nasal passages and the airways. And that's exactly what he suggested to do, what I said we would do in humans. So it was exactly the same procedure that we would do on a little child that obstructed, or for us it's mostly overweight people that have obstructive sleep apnea. So I said, well, let's have a look. I can't promise anything. I phoned a couple of the medical companies that I work with, and they brought all their equipment in.
Right, because you needed to source equipment
exactly.
At this point.
Yeah, so I've donated some of my endoscopic equipment to this veterinary practice, so they already had some equipment and tools and endoscopes available. But then I had a firm called Storz, and they brought a camera system in, which is about R500,000. I had another company, Surgical Innovations, bring in and actually donate now the actual laser that we used on this little dog. That's about 120,000 rand, so they could use other dogs if need be. So we had about 600,000 rands worth of equipment. I had my assistant, Dr. Pedro Monteiro, also ENT surgeon, that is doing a fellowship with me. He assisted me. And then we had the two vets, Rena and Danny, who anesthetized the dog, with the owner, Steffi, sitting outside waiting.
Now, little Indy, I think that's the name of the French bulldog, was lying in front of you. And what are you thinking? Were you going into this deciding that you're going to treat little Indy as though it was a human?
Well, first, when I spoke to Rena, she said to me, well, would you mind speaking to Steffi, the owner, because she's essentially now the patient's mother. So I said, sure. This was a bit of a funny request, but we had about an hour a conversation on the phone, and I explained what we would do, and she says, well, what is the success rate? So I said, well, you do know I've never operated on a dog before. So, but I said it's very successful in humans. So, but the most amazing thing was the little dog, Indy, actually walked into the theatre, and he was looking up at all of us like saying, you know, come on guys, what's taking you so long? Because he was obviously starved, she was starved, and it was 6 o'clock on the Friday evening, and she just said, let's get on with it.
Yeah. So as you went about your surgery, were there any huge differences or hurdles that you had to overcome that you wouldn't usually deal with a human patient?
Yeah. I think the biggest thing for me was this little innocent little dog that really just, you know, did whatever, took whatever you did to her. You know, with a human you can explain the risk and things, and here what was, I thought if something happens and Indy doesn't make it, I don't think I would be able to forgive myself. And so did the Pedro that worked with me also said, you know, if we have to make this work, because they're just so innocent, you know, they just kind of trust that whatever you do is the right thing, I suppose. The other difference was obviously the anatomy is very different. Although it's actually quite similar, they've also got a nasal septum, they've also got turbinates, which are structures that swell with allergy and with temperature changes. So she had an extra one, you know, there were different shapes and sizes, so it was really interesting. We actually presented this at a big university meeting between Groote Schuur and Tygerberg Hospital, and we presented it as a patient, 11-month-old patient, and we showed the inside of the nose with a camera. And then you said, well, what on earth is going on here? And then he came out with a camera and suddenly saw it was a dog's face. So it's actually amazing. During that meeting, nobody realized for those first 30 seconds that we actually were looking inside a dog's nose and not a human nose. So it's similar.
Tell us a little bit about Indy post-operation. How is she doing?
She's doing fantastically now. It's still only 2 weeks, so we normally say in humans we have to wait six weeks before all the swelling is down, obviously, and in human patients you can clean the nose out. You can't really do that in the little dog, so we've been throwing the ball in the water, in the sea, so she could go dig it out and wash out the nose to such an extent. But she's done amazingly. Post-operatively, the first day already, Steffi, the mother, sent us a video clip of Indy breathing the first time, where she's lying flat with the head on a carpet, and they took a little audio clip and you could hear the gentle breathing through the nose. Where before she literally had to lie, she found a way that she had to lie in the bed with the head back over the edge of the bed, and that's the only way she could get some air in through the mouth. So she wasn't able to breathe through the nose at all before.
How extraordinary. Now,
Yeah.
we were joking off camera that you're probably going to get quite a few more interesting requests. In fact, your secretary is probably going to have to start asking, is this a human or animal patient? Do you anticipate this happening?
Well, our secretary already told me today she thinks she might have to put a water bowl in the consultation room, so it might be a bit of a worry. But the nice thing is that I think at VetPoint they will be able to offer this kind of surgery in the very near future. You know, a lot of companies have now come together and saying we'll donate some of the instrumentation, and the human surgeons can very easily, within a couple of operations, teach the vets the similar procedure. So it's very easily reproducible.
From a personal perspective, obviously you're a medical practitioner who's promised to try and help all your patients. What drew you to trying to help out furry friends?
It's the most amazing feeling after this operation to see that little dog playing the next day with the mom, saying it's the first time she could actually hold something in the mouth and be able to breathe through the nose at the same time. And and my colleague that helped me said the same thing, that it was actually more gratifying and more satisfaction gained from this than removing a big tumor from the nose. And I can't explain it, you know, it's a little animal, it's innocent, and he's just looking up at you. It was an amazing feeling.
Well, thank you so much for sharing this story with us. And when you have your next interesting medical case, please do come back.
Thank you very much.